Okay, today we're going to talk about a little known piece of great history for St. Clair College, and that is the Clean Air Car Race. And we've got with us today Jerry Ducharme, who was the chairman of the automotive department prior to his retirement and was the team leader for the Clean Air Car. But before we get into the Clean Air Car, Jerry, tell us a little bit about where you were before you came to St. Clair and how you ended up at St. Clair College.
Oh, God. I taught high school in the county for 2 years before I saw an ad in the paper that they wanted somebody to organize and set up the automotive facility and, make up equipment lists and stuff like that. And I had done some of that at the other when I went into the high school system. I had done basically the same thing, so I had some experience. So I applied. In fact, it was Bill Totten, who was the dean at that time, and I applied for the job, and I ultimately got it. So then we had to hire the staff and that kind of stuff. So we did it and set it all up. And we got that going, I think, in 1969.
69.
About 69.
Okay. Seen a lot of changes since then.
A few.
Yes. When we talk about the Clean Air Car, is that the proper title, the Clean Air Car Race? Was that what it was called?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the race. You know, what did it involve? And
Okay. You'd have to back up a little bit to 1968. Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston challenged the University of California at Pasadena. They challenged them because they're very competitive to two universities. They challenged them to the original Clean Air Car Race, and what they did is they developed their own vehicles, and then they were to meet in the middle kind of thing. And although the cars they broke down eventually. Out of that came this idea, and in 1970 they decided to open the race up to the whole. All the universities and colleges that wanted to get involved, including Canada was included. So both University of Toronto and St. Clair College registered, and we got in.
Two Canadians.
The only two Canadians that were involved, and we were brand new. I had our first classes. We were into it about a year and a half, so we weren't.
We probably didn't have any more than about 800 or 1,000 students in those days, too.
Yeah,
a little tiny college.
Yeah. Anyway, we had some meetings with the students. I think we got a letter that was sent to all the colleges and universities. You know, if you're interested in getting, send in your names and with the information, and I think a $300 deposit for registration, and we did that. And then we met with the students and decided what our theme was going to be, because at the time they were just getting into legislation for emissions and emission controls. They didn't exist on cars at that time. So we decided we would like to build a family car, take a family car, and see if you could convert it and meet these new standards that were coming out. They came out in 1970, but they were being applied in 1975. So the goal was to beat those standards of 1975 with the technology that was available at the time to us.
Terrific. Tell us a little bit about the team that put it together then.
Well, you were allowed to have 3 students involved in the driving of the vehicle and maintaining the vehicle. You were allowed to have what we called a chase car, or the second car, where 3 faculty members could follow, and should anything's come up or that kind of thing, they could advise them and those kinds of things. But as faculty, we were not allowed to touch the cars. We could not touch the cars. That was a no-no. And the race committee, we always had a member of the race committee in the car at all times, in the race car.
In the race car?
Oh, yes, in the chase. And part of the way in which they rated the race was you couldn't break the speed limits. You had to, no driving infractions, and all of these things were recorded by the person that was the representative of the race committee in the car. So you couldn't speed up unless you made, he was sleeping in the back seat or something. Maybe you could cheat a little bit. That's how the race went.
Now, the the St. Clair entry, I understand there were entries that were steam and electric
God.
and everything. Now, what was St. Clair's entry?
Ours was propane, and some of the local suppliers who handled propane donated some of the equipment and stuff
And
like
what kind
that.
of a car was it?
It was a Dodge Coronet, 1970. It was brand new. We got it at Chrysler's, and Chrysler's gave us a lot of support because they had the testing facilities they had just put in to meet to test for the emissions, all the emission stuff. So they gave us access to the facility. So when we did a modification, that we could test it.
Now, we were up against some pretty high-powered competition.
Yeah, I'd say we were. Yeah.
Who were some of
The people that really started it was Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and they're world renowned as to where they are in terms of technology. And same thing at in the University of California at Pasadena. Their technical section there is second to none. So they're top notch, and there are 44 entrants and some really good representation. We had steam cars, we had hydrogen cars, we had all electric cars. The University of Toronto was all electric, and we had all kinds of combinations. And like I say, if 44 cars, I think 41 finished. I think if my memory serves me right.
I understand that some of them had transporters that they moved the cars with and all that sort of stuff, and we went low budget.
We had there was a hydrogen car. It was the only hydrogen car that I remember, and a young fellow was driving that car, and he with his companions, and I noticed there was a tractor trailer following the car all the time on the highway, and I can remember we were out of, on our first leg of the race or the second leg of the race, and started to ask questions about why is that transport truck following that car all the time. It's not really a transport, it was one of those pressurized tankers.
Oh, right, okay.
And it had hydrogen across the back. Well, every night when the boy was putting the car away, he'd refill the tank in the car. So I don't know, it must have cost an absolute fortune for this tractor trailer system to follow him every day. And I think our crossing the United States, we spent 8 days on the road, I think. And that tractor trailer was with him every minute of the way.
And our chase car was another passenger car.
Yeah.
Yep. Tell us about some of the guys on the team. Who all was involved in this?
Dennis Lewis from technology, Ivan Bastine from the chemistry department in technology, myself. We had 3 students, one from journalism, one
neat.
mechanical tech type technologist, I guess, and I can't remember what Dave was. I just don't. But he was from technology, but I don't know what program he was in. Really nice fellows. The one fellow from the journalism was in contact with the college daily, and he would phone in from wherever we were. He would phone in and advise. We had a director here, Fred Carruthers, who coordinated the whole thing together, and he would give daily reports and that kind of stuff. So the Windsor Star was kept up to date and what's going on with it.
A lot of press coverage.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's right. Did everything go smoothly? I mean, you left from Boston, you ended up in Pasadena.
Well, ultimately we did, yeah. But on the first leg of the race, things being what they are, and all things are mechanical, we had a stupid breakdown that had nothing to do with the race. It was just a mechanical failure of the left front wheel seized on the wheel bearings that the wheel turns on, and it seized, and we had a breakdown in New York State, and we got hung up there for quite a few hours, and each leg was timed. You had a 24-hour limit.
Okay.
From the time you started that leg of the race till you till you finished, you had 24 hours. If it was beyond 24 hours, you were eliminated.
Yep.
And we had broken down, and we couldn't get the part locally in the New York area. So Fred at St. Clair College here, Fred Carruthers, who's kind of an ingenious fella, He
Sure was.
ran around the city, and obviously there was a Chrysler plant in Windsor here, and there was a dealership in the city, obviously, and he found the part that we needed and rented a plane and flew that across from the Windsor airport to the airport in New York, delivered the part at, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning or some silly thing, and we wound up, mechanic said that he would work as soon as the part came in, so we got him up, called his house, and he came to work, opened the garage up, put the part on, and we made it to where that first leg ended was in Toronto. That was the first leg in, and we crossed the border and got to Toronto at the where we were supposed to be, and we had an hour to spare. We made it. That was the only problem we had on the entire race.
Now, with all that, how did we fare against all these 41 other?
We came in second in the missions and fourth overall. We were twice the values that 75 called for, okay? So we were beyond, met those standards and beyond that. So I think we carried over into about 1982 with the standards.
Oh,
See,
boy.
there's a thing, there are three gases that they worry about. Two of them run hand in hand. If you reduce hydrocarbons and that kind of stuff, then the other one goes with it.
Okay.
But the third one goes the opposite direction, okay? And those are called nitrous oxides, or NOx, they refer to. When you drive in from Bell River on a summer day, and you look towards Zug Island, you'll see that brown haze on some sunny days in the morning. That's NOx, that's nitrous oxide. And the whole reason for the emission control came out of the state of California, because California is a series of basins with the mountain ranges behind them.
That would all just
And
settle.
that was a great big pot, and all the pollutants would stay there. It looked like London, England,
Yeah.
as it used to. And they started it all about 5 years before. And George Lacey from Chrysler's,
Yep.
we knew
Vice
George,
President,
he was on
yep.
our board here.
Yep.
But George was an engineer, and George, he's the guy that really was hot for us to do this. And he gave us all of the he gave us access to the new Chrysler system that was just put in here in the Windsor plant to meet all the standards. So we could do all our testing there. And not only that, he gave us the chase car, never charged the college at all. It's a brand new top of the line Dodge, fully loaded. So we had that car, and we had to pay for the Coronet, the 70 Coronet, but I was $3,000 or something. we paid
Yeah,
for
in
it.
those days, yeah.
We got for next to nothing.
Oh, that's terrific.
This carried on. We must have had the car for 7 years, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And we go visiting high school. You know how we used
Yeah.
to send us every year?
I remember it sitting up in
Yeah, we had it on
Devonshire Mall
rocks,
for a
yeah,
while
yeah,
on a
yeah.
display.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and the Life magazine article
Yeah.
with the big 2-page spread with
Yeah.
all the cars in the picture. That was good stuff. It was a real feather in St. Clair's cap.
Yeah, and it just didn't stop on the spot. I think we got good mileage out of the car in that students came into the motive power, and we just
Yeah.
going to open the motive power program.
Great
Motive power
PR
program
for that
was-
program.
yeah.
Boy.